Hi there, YouTube. It has, I have a squeaky chair. Goddamn that chair bullshit friggin'. Hey there, YouTube. It has been a while. For doing the videos on Beta Ray Bill, I really specifically wanted to only articulate my process in getting things done when I finished a specific part of the costume, but it's not turning out that way. There's a lot of stuff I'm having to work on in conjunction with other things to make sure they all kind of fit and work together. Mostly like the head and the helmet. They are two separate pieces and two completely different things to work on, but they have to work together in conjunction, or they're gonna look weird. Um, so yeah, I have done a bit on that. I kind of had to wait to do a lot of work on the head for the sake of the eyes. I've actually tried a couple things on the eyes before I got to this, which is to say, I had some round bubble lenses that I had put into this, and the whole thing still fit over my regular glasses, which are very large. So yeah, that looked a little bit weird and it looked a little bit off. So I've got an older, smaller pair of glasses built into this mask because I can't talk myself into wearing contacts. I've tried and it doesn't work out. I don't need to deal with that right now. Yeah, so I think I talked, you know, fairly at length about the general underlying structure of this in the last video. So mostly it's been surfacing, and this is I've started working on the skin. Now, of course, first of all, I have to get it to kind of match the gloves, where it's that sort of I don't know, pebbly texture is like maybe I don't know, it's as good a word as I got for that. But yeah, that kind of skin texture. He looks like the Thing. I'm not down with that. But the next step after this is going to be to paint over the whole thing with orange fabric paint, which should, I don't know, kind of even everything out and mellow everything out a little bit so it doesn't look as. So the texture. To make it look less textured, which I, shouldn't feel like I don't know. That's what I feel like I need to do. I haven't done a lot of stuff like this with making alien skin, but the texture is too pronounced right now, in my opinion. So that's what I'm gonna do on the head next. The teeth are probably gonna come last because I have to, adding this stuff on is kind of changing how the jaws sit in relation to each other, and I want the teeth to meet up. So I got to do the teeth last. Now the helmet I've actually got a decent way done. The helmet is another thing I've had a little bit of trouble with, mostly in getting it to fit over Beta Ray Bill's horse face. So I started out with a store-bought helmet. I'll go back to the Amazon page and post a picture of it here, mostly because of the dome shape, and then going out to this neck bell was that's a really elegant and subtle shape, and it was just easier to buy something already shaped like that and work off of it. And then I've built everything else off of it, attaching it mostly with brads and stuff like that. I had to kind of squish the entire helmet in a little bit to try to get it to fit over Bill's face better. And the other thing is I've tried three different bills on the front of Bill's helmet. There's probably a better word, but I'm gonna stick with that. Because again, I had tried a lot of stuff that just kind of, that was a dome shape, so it curved down and it bit into the front of the face too much and didn't work. So that's why it just kind of curves and then it goes straight. That's, just it's a piece of plastic that only has one curve instead of curving in two directions. And that's just pieces of wood for the wings on the side of the helmet, which I haven't got to. Cutting out the pattern that goes on that, but that'll be one of the next couple of steps somewhere. When I'm working on all these different parts at the same time, I just kind of bounce to whatever I'm feeling, which I suppose I should actually kind of put the helmet on the head so you guys can get at least a little taste of what that's doing right now. Unfortunately, this styrofoam head is not the same size as my head. They do not sell styrofoam heads where I live the same size as my head, so I'm just kind of having to make do. So yeah, that is actually pretty accurate to how he sits on my head right now. He looks like a burn victim right now. I need to get those colors to match. Until they do, it's just going to look weird. So yeah, unfortunately, it does look like a little bit cone-headed. I'm not entirely down with that. It's possible that won't, look as much. It won't look as weird, and it won't look like as much of a thing once I get everything else put together. But yeah, that's kind of where he's sitting right now. I might change the cheek pieces a little bit. If nothing else, there's more details I got to add to him, but I may have to wait to do a lot more work on the helmet until I get the face done to make sure everything's lining up and meshing and that it looks right there. Um, so yeah, the next thing is I've been working on the chest as well, mostly on paint tests. I've got all the pieces cut out. So this is the piece like in the center of Beta Ray Bill's chest, and here's a picture of all the pieces laid out. Again, I'm working off of the Journey into Mystery design of Thor. That I can't remember the artist's name, but they very specifically it was very much designed in their art style, and when it has been transferred to other people's art styles, like in the Unworthy Thor arc miniseries, 6-issue miniseries, the Nova stuff, anything he's shown up in since then, he's looked a little bit different because that is a little bit, I, I like the design. I can see where some other people are more attached to his classic design, but I like that design. So I started out with a color pretty close to that design, and I've sort of weathered it and roughed it up from there. Probably like too much. It looks a little bit too speckly. Yeah, I'm not. I'm still figuring some stuff out on that. I'm still gonna play around with the paint job on that. But yeah, when I just had the flat color by itself with no other modification, it actually looked like it could. It looked visually similar enough to Thor Ragnarok that it's like, oh hey, this is a build that could fit into the background of Thor Ragnarok. Because I mean, Thor Ragnarok is a very comic book colored movie, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was too. Thor Ragnarok seems like it's kicking that up even further and being even more colorful, but we are starting to get comic book movies that look more like comic books. But yeah, I suppose the other thing to talk about would be I'm starting to work on the muscle suit for the arms, which is this is one of the shoulders. This is actually from a Pepakura model specifically for foam that was not done by me. It was done actually when I bring it up. It lists like 4 or 5 people in the credits, and I'll actually post a link to where I got this. It's from a foam model of Briareos from Appleseed. Good show, good anime, mostly. The versions blend from okay to pretty good. There's always a giant gun with legs in it. Anyway, so the people it's listing are this model was made by C2, Lord Harner, Dung, Zero Beetle, and JF Custom. Those last 2 guys do a lot of foam Pepakura models on the RPF, and that's where this link will take you, is to the replica props forum. You'll have to scroll down a little bit to get to Briareos, but that's because this page is full of a lot of awesome stuff that you can use. So yeah, I'm only using this stuff because the upper arm of Briareos that they have here is just a muscly, not male specifically, but a muscular upper arm. So if I just use that section, I'll end up with a nice muscly arm, and then I'll make the forearm armor, and I'll have the giant hands, and I will look jacked. And I'm actually going to use this exact same pattern if I make another set of Thor scales, as I'll make that muscly arm and then put the scales over it. So I've cut out templates for this pattern out of chipboard because, I'll get a little bit of reuse out of these guys. So yeah, those will go on over some sort of morph suit or shirt, or I'm going to mount them on something and then do the orange morph suit over the top of the arms. And that'll look pretty sweet, I think. And then with a little bit of the like scaly skin texture. That's right, I gotta be able to talk to do YouTube videos. Damn it. Scaly skin texture on parts of the arm to look all alien-y and whatnot. And I'm about a month out from anything I'm really planning on taking this to, which is Denver Comic Con's the big one. There's a couple smaller local conventions that I'm going to try to hit, but Denver Comic Con's the big one. I suppose that's the last thing I need to talk about. I haven't done a lot on the hammer since the last time I showed it to you guys, mostly because I'm kind of mooching on other people's tools since I don't have a lot of really good sanding tools. But yeah, where this has this kind of like edge that I initially sort of planned out there, I've decided I don't like that. I want to smooth that all down to a fine edge, and then take the edge off of it, make it flat, to try to better adhere to Denver Comic Con's prop guidelines, which I don't even know if this guy will like pass anyway. I may have to build an entirely different hammer to take anything out to Denver Comic Con. But yeah, I added leather to the handle. That's what I changed. That's what's different now. And that end cap. These are actually the old like leather straps from how I originally wrapped my Mjolnir handle, back when it looked more like a Ruby's prop costume Thor hammer than the actual prop. But I always liked those, and I like how it feels in your hand. It's got a very iconic texture, and that looks pretty close to the design of Bill's hammer. I mean, it shows all the leather on it being gold, but I don't think I like that. So I've got gold leather underneath, and then the belts over the top of it. Looks good. Feels good. I'll let you guys know when I have more done. Except I suppose I should mention, just in case anybody's curious, yeah, I did cut my hair. I hope you weren't subscribed to me because of my hair. I did, however, donate it to Wigs for Kids. And I don't say that to brag. I say that, and yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about this because you should never tell the internet your pet peeves, and you should never let them know what bothers you. It shows weakness. But yeah, people telling me to do things I already did or telling me things I already know, it cheeses me off, man. So this is more to keep somebody from going, oh man, if only you donated your hair to Wigs for Kids, because my response would have been, yeah, I know. I did that. Please don't unsubscribe.